Wow.
Whoa. Knock off the music. Knock off the music. What's up? It is Monday. Oh, great. Now I'm hearing stuff in my headphones. Anyways, hope you are all doing well. We're about to start. So strap in and get ready, because I'm about to pop things off up in this biatch. And my sound deck's not working. Anyways, let's get started, shall we? Enough of this crap. Let's go. 6 past the hour, 10 a.m. Coming to you live from Queens, New York. 46 degrees out there. Good morning. Good morning. Is it a good morning? Better be. Better be nice and good for a lot of you. Hopefully, a good lot of you aren't too hungover from yesterday. St. Patty's Day. If you celebrated, hope you are alive and well and not waking up somewhere that you least expected, whether that be at a different location, different part of the house, in your car, on the street. Hope you got some sleep, because I'll tell you what, I didn't get any. I had a bad sleeping night last night for no particular reason. You know what I think it is? I think yesterday, some of you may know, if you're around, I streamed briefly yesterday to kind of make up for not being able to stream Friday morning, and just to talk about random stuff, talk about St. Patrick's Day, watch some drunk people videos, you know, comment on some comments left on my The Crow trailer reaction. And then afterwards, I played Helldivers with my friends online. And while I was playing, I was drinking coffee. And I think that was a big mistake, because we were up till like a little bit past midnight. And I was still drinking coffee around that time. So that totally messed me up for sure. And I knew it was going to be a bad idea, but I did want to drink some stuff to kind of keep me up and keep me going, because I was feeling a little tired over the weekend for no reason whatsoever. I think it's also, you know, it's March, and I think my seasonal allergies are really starting to kick in now, because I've been sneezing a lot. My eyes have been really itchy, sometimes irritated. Hence why I'm wearing the darker lenses today, because I feel like my eyes are super sensitive at the moment. And I think it just messed up with my sleep overall. And it sucks, because I think I got maybe at most, if I was lucky enough, 2 hours worth of sleep. So yeah, I'm I'm running on fumes. Running on empty. Oh no. No. But I'm here regardless, and I want to hang out and talk about random stuff with all of you. So good morning, happy Monday. Hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have a great start to your week so far. Let's make today a great one so that the rest of our week is awesome. Just some stuff, some housekeeping stuff. Obviously, a reminder, streaming today. Duh, I'm here now, so you know. I'll be streaming again on Wednesday and Friday as normal, as usual, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, stay tuned. If you want to hear me talk about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, that is the morning I will be giving my review on it. And I will do so without spoiling too much because I know a lot of people probably would not have had a chance to see it yet. So it will be a spoiler-free discussion about the movie as much as I can, because you know how I get. I love talking about the movies, and I just love just being able to freely talk about it. Or maybe I'll do a two-parter. Who knows? I haven't yet decided yet. So stay tuned, but I will be talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire this Friday. Wednesday, I'll be talking about a binge of the week. There's a show I'm watching that I want to talk about, and I will talk about that on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Plus, hopefully, if things go well tomorrow, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it. I have a chance to catch an opportunity for a possible screening tomorrow night. And if I do have that opportunity and everything goes well, then I'll be talking about said opportunity on Wednesday. So stay tuned for Wednesday for sure. Always going to be talking about news. There's a lot of stuff I want to be talking about this morning. Some video game news, some movie news. A lot of interesting stuff. My concerns about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and the box office, I'll talk about that too. So just some of those things there. Also, I think what I'm going to do is this upcoming Sunday, I'm going to be streaming in the afternoon around 2 o'clock, maybe 2 or 3. And it's just going to be a chill video game stream. And I'm just going to hang out, talk about some video game related topics, and just play some video games. What I'm going to be playing it, I still do not know, but stay tuned. And if you're interested in watching some video games and all that, then Sunday will be the day for that. I may start doing something on Wednesday nights, but I haven't decided yet. So that's more of a TBD kind of thing. So just stay tuned for all that kind of stuff and all that. As always, I appreciate all your support and those who are watching live or will be watching on the replay. So as always, don't forget, if you enjoyed what you see, hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike. It's all the same. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. And check out the shows and the videos on the channels, because I'm going to be working on some interesting stuff for this year. All right, all that out of the way, let's talk about a little bit about the weekend. Like I mentioned last night, obviously playing a lot of Helldivers 2. A lot of interesting stuff going on in that game, and they have been patching things. They have been updating things. One of the most challenging things that me and my friends have encountered in Helldivers 2 is the fact that now they've really gone nuts with the environmental and weather conditions. Previously, we experienced earthquakes, meteor showers, and now we're dealing with fire tornadoes and ion storms. And what's awesome about the ion storms is the fact that when it's happening, you lose your radar, you lose your map, and you lose the ability to call out your stratagems, which is freaking challenging in itself. It's smart. It's a great mechanic to add in there, but it definitely messes up with gameplay and all that. But we're still having fun with it. Obviously, the new War Bond unlockables were released last week, so those who have access to all of that are having fun trying to unlock as much as they can. I'm getting very close to being level 25, and once I hit that, I could finally unlock my mech stratagem. So I can't wait for that to happen. And yeah, it's I can't say enough about how nice of a game it is to just be able to hop in, run a couple of missions with your friends, and then call it a night. And that's it. There's no ongoing thing you have to worry about. You know, if you miss out on the daily, guess what? There's another daily mission the next day. The weeklies seem to be accomplished very easily because you have such a strong support from the community working together as a whole to complete these weeklies for everybody. And it's just great. It's like you no worries and concerned about anything. Yes, there is parts of it where you're grinding, when you're trying to level up, when you're trying to get samples and supplies to unlock more stuff from your ship that will improve on your stratagems and your weapons and all of that. But it doesn't even feel like you're grinding because it's just every mission is a challenge in its own way. And it's just fun going through it. Like I said, I can't speak highly enough on how relieving it feels to be able to be playing something with your friends. Hop in, hop out, and then that's it. You don't need to worry about anything. So it does feel like I have finally found that Destiny replacement that I've been looking for a very long time. And I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty stoked. This is the way you're supposed to do a live service game. There's no FOMO. If you miss out on something, there's still a chance to do it and get it. And the one thing that they're doing now that I find amazing is that with the premium content, like weapons, armor, all that's good stuff, you now have the ability to unlock those as long as you save enough of what they call super credits. Super credits is like the in-game currency that if you pay real life money, you can get these super credits to buy and unlock things. But if you don't want to spend that money, you do have the opportunity to find super credits during your missions. If you look enough, if you search enough, you get these credits. You save them all up. Eventually, you can unlock these premium war bonds, as they call it. You just have to be patient and save up on it. And then you have the opportunity to do so. Obviously, it's a grind to do that if you don't want to pay money for it. But they're not forcing you to have to spend money on it. You have the ability regardless. It's just going to take longer than those. If you want it right away and you want it now, go ahead, spend some money to buy some of these super credits. If you don't want to do that and you're patient, then wait. And I love that they do that. Again, it doesn't force you to fall into that FOMO. Like, oh, we're releasing these things only for a week. Better get it now or else you'll never come back. Or maybe it'll come back, but like in a year or two. Nothing like that. At least for now. Who knows what's going to happen later on down the road. But for right now, hey, I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. And it is what it is. And of course, I'm playing other things. I've been playing a shit ton of Persona 3 Reload. Oh my God. I am so shocked how much of this game I'm playing. And at the same time, I think I just realized that I am halfway through the game now. And I've already spent fucking 60 hours on this game. And that is one thing I wanted to avoid doing. But yet I'm still doing it because I think it's just a fun game. I understand now why people love this game. So I did a lot of that over the weekend, along with catching up on some movies that I've kind of tasked myself to watch because Blake and I uh, on an upcoming episode of the Movie Time podcast, we're going to be doing a Denis Villeneuve retrospective. So we're watching his entire filmography from beginning to obviously Dune 2, which I saw again last week for the second time. And it's still as good as it was the first time I saw it, if not better, because maybe I had some clarification on some things that maybe I was questioning on, but still a fantastic movie. And going through his filmography, I'm watching movies I haven't seen yet. And I will say this without spoiling what the episode's going to be about, but he is all over the place. There's no real true reoccurring theme. But no matter what theme he tackles, he is a damn good storyteller. And there are some movies that he's done in earlier on in his career that are very indie, but at the same time, well done indie movies. I mean, my God, so fantastic. It's unbelievable. Oh, snap. What's up, Star-Lord's in the house? What is up, Star-Lord? Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. So I did a lot of that over the weekend, caught up on some of those things and just other random stuff and everything like that. I'm currently, if you caught my stream yesterday, I mentioned some other things I was working on. I am currently writing a script for a video that I'm planning to release on April Fool's Day. Something that I've been wanting to do for the last couple of years. So now I'm really focusing on trying to do that. Another video I'm trying to hopefully release in May. So I'm working on things like that and also trying to schedule my time better and figure out how I can do more things for the streams. So not just for the streams, but also for just the channel in general, and try to incorporate new content. And you know, another thing I realized over the weekend too is that there are a handful of videos that I've been working on that I've kind of just pushed aside because other things got in the way. And they're kind of like left and abandoned. And I feel horrible about it because I've already put so much work on these things and I haven't done anything with it. I haven't released them. I haven't continued them. And I think these videos are pretty decent for the most part. Some watch-alongs that I haven't put out there that I've been like heavily editing. And then I just kind of stopped because other things took precedence and then other things came in and this and that and, you know, lost focus. And I want to go back to those and try to just finish them. I just want to cross these things off the list so that I can say this is done, this is done, this is done. Because there's nothing that feels better than scratching stuff off your list, accomplishing stuff that you've been working on for so long, and then moving on to the next thing, you know? And I need to be better at that. So yeah, so that was my weekend. Let me know how your weekends were. Always interested and love to hear what you've been up to, what you found yourself doing, and all of those good things. All right. First thing for the morning, as we do every morning, we will talk about the box office breakdown. This is a part of the Monday stream, or Monday morning stream, I should say, where we talk about the weekend's box office, results, winners, losers, all that good stuff. So let's hop in here and look at what was going on this past weekend. It was a tight race for the number one spot. Tight race. Tight race? Tight race. Tight. But the overall winner was Kung Fu Panda 4, beating Dune Part 2 just by $900,000 US. Kung Fu Panda, second week being number one in the box office, $30 million domestically. Overall domestic gross as of this morning, 107.7 million, doing really well for himself. I'm not surprised. Again, it is the one of very few options for families to go out and watch movies. The only movie out there for families and for kids. So not surprised that this is doing really well. Coming in number 2 very closely is Dune Part 2 with 29.1 million, breaking the $200 million mark domestically. And forecast is saying that by tomorrow, as you could see here by the worldwide box office numbers, it should break the $500 million global box office mark. So there you are. Dune Part 2 is killing it, way surpassing the performance of Dune Part 1. Again, little asterisks on that, because Dune Part 1 came out during a time when people are still not going back to theaters. I keep saying that over and over again, but I feel like I have to kind of remind people. Also, very minimal drop-off from last week, 37%. So Dune is doing really... Dune done do well. The new movie for the week was Arthur the King. This is the Marky Mark movie with the dog from Lionsgate, 7.5 million. Not terrible, not great, but there's two things that I always say bring in box office, no matter what. One is religion/hope films, hope faith-based films, and anything with pets. And we know that there's been tons of movies with dogs featured in them, and they usually do very decently at the box office. So there's Marky Mark's movie for that. Coming in number 4 is Imaginary. That is that horror film from Lionsgate, 5.6 million, 19 million so far domestically. Cabrini, that is the faith-based movie from Angel Studios, same studios that did Sound of Freedom from last year. 2.8 million in 5th place, 61% drop off though. So I don't think they're going to be getting another viral hit here unless some phone calls are made and, people are going to start buying up tickets and not showing up. So far, 13 million total domestic. Latest from A24, Love Lies Bleeding. This is the Kristen Stewart revenge lesbian movie. It went nationwide last week. That's why you see the huge percent increase in theaters. Pulled in 2.4 million, 2.7 overall. I don't expect this movie to do hot because it is very much an independent movie, but I've been hearing good stuff about it. I'm actually going to be, hopefully, either tonight or Wednesday, I'm going to be finally watching this, along with another A24 film that I've been dying to see, that ever since I saw the trailer of last year, I've been dying to see this. And that is Problemista. So that's another movie that I'm hoping to see. I'm going to be seeing a lot of movies this week, y'all. So you're going to be hearing me talking about a lot of movies this week. So I'm excited for that. Star-Lord, Kung Fu Panda, forgo Jack Black. That's right. He got himself another hit there. The franchise that will never die. As long as it's doing this well, it is never going to go away. Also, you have in 7th place, Bob Marley, One Love, 2.3 million, 93.3 million overall. Globally, 169. Nothing to shy at. One Life. I don't know what this movie is. It's another new movie that came out last week. Oh, it's with Sir Anthony Hopkins. Looks like a World War II movie. 26 million globally, but only 1.7 million domestically here, coming in 8th. Coming in 9th, another new movie that I knew was going to bomb terribly because it just looks stupid. The American Society of Magical Negroes from Focus Features, 1.2 million. Ouch. Or as E.T. would say, ouch. I mean, the way I would describe this movie is Harry Potter for black people. I don't know. It just looks like a weird premise of a movie. Ever since I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, I don't understand what this movie is trying to do. But I'm not surprised it didn't do that well at the box office. No support for it whatsoever. That's why it's in 9th. And in 10th place, you have Ordinary Angels. That's a Hilary Swank, other faith-based movie that's out in theaters right now. 1 million, 18 billion overall domestically. You see Madam Web have dropped out completely from the top 10. only pulling in $400,000. But at the same time, Madam Web can now be seen at home because you can now rent it digitally or buy it, video on demand, watch it, and make fun of it at the comfort of your own home. Star-Lord, hit me, baby, one more time. Oops. No, yep. Yeah, let's do that. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Yeah! Wow. Yeah! Wow. Yeah! Wow. Yeah! Wow. Yeah! I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. You blew it!
There you go. Round of applause to Mr. DJ. DJ Sniff Barts. Sniff Barts. DJ Sniff Farts. This is what happens when you get 2 hours worth of sleep, y'all. But yeah. So now that Madam Web is available digitally, I will make this announcement here. I will be working on a commentary video for this. I have to. And this may be the first candidate for Bad Movie Night once I roll out the new member tiers. And if you want to join the movie club, you can expect this to be the first movie to watch during Bad Movie Night for Movie Club. You've heard it here. So I can't wait for that. But that is the weekend box office. So obviously, the big movie for this week is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And the question on everyone's lips, chapped lips, is, will Ghostbusters Frozen Empire beat out sandworms and One Giant Panda? And I'm going to say this. Yes, it will, but barely. I'm predicting that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire will probably do around like 30 to 35 million domestically. I think it's only going to be doing that much. Because the Ghostbusters Afterlife, let's see how much it did opening weekend. Let's take a look, shall we? And while I'm searching this, let's play some searching type of music. Renee's doing some research. I'm looking into the numbers for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I want to see what it did opening weekend. So opening weekend. Oh, I might be shooting myself in the foot here. Believe it or not. Oh, you know what? I'm not. Because Ghostbusters Afterlife came out during the holidays. It was released on November 19th, 1 week before Thanksgiving weekend. So it made $44 million at the domestic box office that opening weekend. We are in March. It is not going to do those same type of numbers in March. So I think my prediction of 30 to 35 million still holds strong. However, and I thought I was showing my screen right here. Here we go. However, I will say this. I do have some concerns. I have concerns about the budget and the amount of money they're spending on marketing. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I've been seeing so much marketing being done for this movie. Way more than the last one. And anytime I see that, that draws major concerns to me. So, hold on. I'm just reading some stuff here. So it all started with, I came across this video on YouTube. And you know what they do, like these celebrity cameos, and they're doing like their own trailer of a trailer, or they're doing their own trailer for a movie, or they guest star in a trailer for a movie. Or like if you're watching sports, you know how they always like do this collaboration. The NBA does this a lot, and all of a sudden you have like basketball players thinking they're like Ghostbusters and all that. I've been seeing a lot of this going on. One great example is that Al Roker did his own promo for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, because the theme is winter and summer, right? And he's a weatherman. So I saw that. By the way, I'm here on ghostbustersnews.com, one of the great resources for anything Ghostbusters related, if you're a huge fan like that. So big shout out to these guys. Star-Lord, I want more Gozer. She was hot. She sure was. She needs to fix her eyes a little bit, though. Those are kind of scary. But yeah, Al Roker did a Ghostbusters Frozen Empire promo. Jimmy Fallon did one of these, like, little performances with Ray Parker Jr. and Ernie Hudson and Bill Murray. You have the infamous Firehouse here in New York City dolling themselves up to help promote the movie. They have like the frozen icicles around it. This is not a great picture. I've seen better pictures of it. Even the logo outside is like frozen. They had like the special fan event when they first unveiled this. It looks cool, but when you think about it, and one of the reasons why I didn't go out there and check it out myself is because it looks like something you would find at an amusement park. That's how kind of like cheesy it looks to me. So I decided not to go out and check it out yet. You have now them announcing that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire cosmetics are coming to Destiny 2. With like these, I guess, weapons and, sparrow thingies and all that crap. So you have that going on. You have a pizza promotion in the UK. You have a Liberty Mutual commercial for the movie. I mean, it goes on and on. There is an official music video from a Japanese girl group, Atarashi Gakko, who was at the premiere last week here in New York. They did this red carpet premiere and they were there. Of course, you have the battle of the popcorn tins and buckets going on right now with Cineplex with their own thing, Cinemark, Regal, AMC. You had Peyton and Eli Manning doing their own Frozen Empire commercial. I mean, the marketing for this is really massive. It is on and on and on. There's an AR experience thing. Icy is doing their own thing. I mean, I never saw this much promotion last time we got this movie. But they are just pumping out the marketing dollars and budget on this. Cheetos has this thing going on. It is freaking bananas. And it concerns me because they're spending so much money on all of this promotion. Now, these are kind of cute, actually. These little figures. That's actually kind of adorable. But I feel like anytime the studio themselves are putting so much emphasis on marketing for these things, it's 50-50. The movie could do really well, or the movie can do just meh and then fizzle out. The budget for the movie itself was $100 million, up from $60 million from the last one. So that also is kind of concerning. It's not MCU crazy budget, but still, it's a little concerning. They added more stars to this movie, so I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of this budget went. Obviously, you have to secure the old guard to come back. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. I feel like Ernie Hudson would do it regardless. And that's no slight on Ernie Hudson. I just feel like, he knows how important this franchise is to him. So he's willing to do what it takes. I mean, he's the one of the only ones really that does the convention circuit. So I get it. But yeah. And the thing is, like, with all of this hubbub, all of this promotion, all of this marketing, and here I am sitting here saying, oh, it's going to do like 30 to 35 million. That's not good. Like, you're hoping something like that will do like 50 million, 60 million. But I don't know. I don't know if the fandom for Ghostbusters is as strong as some people may think it is. Yes, you have your diehards, for sure. But it's also a franchise that is very old. And there was nothing out there that was keeping the franchise going since Afterlife. It would have been a different story if maybe there was a series of comic books or regular books or even a cartoon, right? There was nothing in between. So Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, and then for most people, it was probably like forgotten until word was coming out that there's a sequel coming out. So it is concerned. There's no video game really. I mean, they have like a VR thing going on, but I mean, come on. That's like not the majority of people. So I do find it kind of concerning in a way. We'll find out. We'll see. I mean, it's coming out this week. We'll see what happens at the weekend box office. But if it does just do 30 to 35, and let's say maybe it does even 40. That's not my prediction, but maybe it does 40. Then you got Godzilla Kong coming out the week after. You think it's still going to do 30 million the following week? No way. All of those people are going to go watch Godzilla Kong. And then that's it. And then maybe those who haven't seen Ghostbusters will eventually see it, but it's not going to have a chance to have legs really. Unlike when Afterlife came out, it came out during the holidays. So it had that holiday thing to ride on. So it's tough. I wonder why they decided to release this in March out of all times. With the theme being like, hey, it's summer and all of a sudden everything's freezing over. Maybe it would have been cool if they had a chance to release this, let's say in like June, July, August, maybe even. Summer's out. I mean, summer's in, school's out. So maybe more people have a chance to go watch the movie. But I don't know. It's interesting, the choices made here. So yeah, so those are just some concerns I wanted to bring up. And yeah, this weekend, I do feel like 30 to 35 million. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you know what? Good. And I hope I'm wrong with it making more than that. Because if it does less than that, that's even another story, and that's a bigger problem. So Peter was like, tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock. I'm like, so better, but okay, a few drinks. Get me my Ecto beer goggles. Well, when you get to a certain age, as long as it's moving, sometimes that's all you need, right? So.
You blew it! I'm gonna come.
So yeah, so that's my little rant about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. All right, you know what? Uh-oh, the music is back. What does it mean? That means we're gonna be talking about headlines. This is a part of the stream where I talk about and I catch up on all the recent headlines, movies, pop culture, and the like. It's also a segment I like to call Coffee and Headlines, because this is the chance where I get to drink my coffee for the most part, if I remember. And I read the news. All right. Starlord, I have a question for you. because you are in Louisiana. I don't know if you are a native Louisiana person or if you came from somewhere else. But here in New York, for example, if you subscribe to cable, one of the famous channels that we have here in New York is called New York One. New York One is like a 24/7 all news channel, but really focused on just news in New York. And growing up, I used to watch it every morning because they had a segment on that I actually enjoyed. It was called Morning Papers or Morning Headlines. And that's kind of what inspired me to do this. And it was just the guy pulling up all the morning's newspapers and reading the main headlines. So I'm curious, do you have something similar like that there where they do that type of segment or that type of reporting? I'm just curious. And for anyone else who's watching, in your local cable, and I know not a lot of people pay for cable anymore these days, but I'm just curious for any of you who may know. Star-Lord, seriously, I thought the live-action Ghostbusters focused on one demigod. Are you still referring to Gozer? Because what I'm thinking is that they are definitely taking a lot of inspirations from the cartoon here, and from what I've been hearing, is that you'll easily pick, if you watch the cartoons, you'll easily pick it up. You can kind of see where the influences come from. So they're expanding their world, I guess. You know, because on the cartoon they focus on a lot of different things. So which I'm kind of excited for, because I think a lot of the stories from the cartoons were actually very good. So the fact that they are treating the cartoons as a great reference, it's not necessarily canon, but it's good reference that they're not shying away from bringing those type of storylines or any of those things onto the big screen. So I'm very curious about how that's all going to pan out. I haven't seen cable TV in a while. Okay, yeah, I figured. I mean, a lot of people haven't, so I don't have cable anymore. My mom still does. But I feel like an older generation are the few that still have cable TV these days. So I was just curious. All right. So here in the States, we have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire coming out. But believe it or not, in Japan, they are getting ready to finally get a theatrical release of Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, Oscar-winning Oppenheimer. And if you were keeping up to date with the news about this movie and Japan, during the whole Barbenheimer fiasco or social media phenomenon, I don't know who decided to do this. It was definitely someone from the marketing side of Warner Brothers. They decided to kind of use that same Barbenheimer marketing in Japan, which obviously didn't bode well for a lot of the Japanese audiences. Because when you have a movie that's focusing on the atomic bomb, and obviously the first victims of the atomic bomb were the Japanese people, it's a very sensitive subject. But they wanted to promote, I guess, the social media phenomenon that it is, but they didn't realize, oh, maybe this is a little bit too insensitive for where we are in the region of where we're trying to promote this. So I believe this is why the movie has taken so long to come out there, because a lot of people were not supporting the movie, and there was a lot of backlash with that whole Barbenheimer advertising and marketing campaign they tried to run over there. But it's finally releasing, I believe, either this week or next week in Japan. And they had a special screening. And Christopher Nolan was there. And they invited former Hiroshima mayor Takashi Hiraoka. And there were a lot of students also that were there in attendance to watch the screening. And they had some comments. But not all of it was bad. So this is boding kind of well for at least a positive reception to the Nolan movie when it comes out there in Japan. The screening took place in Hiroshima directly. So they wanted to really put it there to show them that the subject matter of the movie, although it being very harsh, according to some points of view, it treats the subject matter very respectfully. The mayor, however, did not feel so much so. And I'll read some of that. World War II, we all was fighting. Yeah, I mean, look, we were, but a lot of us have moved on and some have not. And I think you will see that once you go overseas. You will see that there are still some people who are hard to forget certain things. That's one of the reasons why there's a lot of Chinese people that hate Japanese people because of a lot of conflicts they were involved in. Also, Koreans are involved in some of that stuff as well. Germans, they're very touchy when it comes to like the whole Nazi thing, right? So there's still a lot of things that a lot of groups of people are not holding grudges, but they can't seem to let go. Not saying it's the majority. There's just pockets of people like that. Especially the older generation. The older generation are never going to forget, or it's going to be very harder. It's going to be harder for them to forget things like that. So reading this here off of good old X, former Hiroshima Mayor Takashi Hiroaki expressed regret that the film did not shed more light on the horrors of nuclear weapons. Quote, the film was made in a way to validate the conclusion that the atomic bomb was used to save the lives of Americans, said Hiroaki, who served as Hiroshima mayor from 1991 to 1999. Another panelist, Tatsuya Mori, 67, a highly regarded independent documentary filmmaker, expressed understanding of Nolan's decision to not include images of the bombed cities. Quote, the film approaches how tragic and brutal nuclear war is indirectly without showing any footage, which may be less spectacular for an audience, but when it does reach out to their hearts, the impact is powerful. It's not just a matter of showing scenes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki or not, said Mori. The third panelist is Arthur Bynard, a U.S. poet and longtime resident of Hiroshima, praised the film for expertly capturing the emotional conflict of the atomic bomb's creator, a work almost unprecedented in Hollywood. About 110 high school students and college students from Hiroshima Prefecture were also invited for the preview screening. Yuta Sakata, a third-year student at Sotoku High School, said that despite the conspicuous absence of images of the bombed-out cities, Oppenheimer still engaged audiences. Quote, since there was no direct depictions, the movie made us use our imaginations. I hope that viewers will do their own research to find out what unfolded in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he said. The film will be released at the end of the month on the 29th of March in Japan. And here is the official Japanese movie poster. I'm not sure exactly what all this says, but there it is, Oppenheimer. So I am very curious to hear what the reception will be from the Japanese audiences when this movie comes out. It does sound very promising to hear the quotes from the people who were there in attendance at this screening. But again, it's going to be dependent on which generation sees the movie and which ones are going to be more vocal about it. I do strongly feel like an older generation may take umbrance with a lack of certain depictions, but I do feel like younger audiences or those who are a little bit more open will recognize that seeing the devastation that these things have caused is not necessary. The movie itself, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It does show the horrors of what was unleashed to the world. And basically, that was the latter half of the movie with Oppenheimer himself, the depiction of Oppenheimer dealing with the fact of what he just did. And knowing and understanding that he went on with the rest of his life, fearing as to what his creation may have done or what it had contributed to. So, we'll see what happens. But at least I'm happy that for those who are living in Japan, who I'm sure we're very curious about this movie. They're finally going to have their chance to finally watch it when it comes out at the end of the month. The bomb was dropped by a B-29 bomber. That's a whole different movie. Is that what movie is that? Because there are several movies about that, right? Wasn't there like Fat Man and Lil Boy or something like that from back in the day? I'm not sure exactly which movie you might be referring to, Star-Lord, but I mean, there were so many movies about that time there. So, or you could just see Godzilla -1, and you could see other effects and side effects of what something like those things that happened may have caused and all of that. So, I want to talk about this Star Wars news about Patty Jenkins, because I think I brought it up last week or the week before about how you know, there's a lot of stuff that Disney have promised or they were planning to do, especially on the Lucasfilm side of things. And I feel like the running joke nowadays is, we have an announcement. We have these movies in the works. And then 6 months later, oh, by the way, this is not working anymore. This is not happening anymore. This director is no longer with us. Blah, 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 all that stuff. And Patty Jenkins was a victim of such an occurrence. The fact that not only did they announce that she was going to be working on a potential Rogue Squadron film, which got me so hyped and so excited, but they filmed a trailer with her in an X-Wing outfit, coming out of an X-Wing, talking about her vision of the movie, saying that her dad was a pilot, and she's going to use a lot of that inspiration for her movie. That she was calling it like Top Gun in space. And I was like, sign me up. I've been dying to see a movie like that within the Star Wars universe. And then, as we've seen happen a lot recently, it kind of fell out. Rumors that Jenkins was no longer doing this movie, that Disney and Lucasfilm have no more plans for this movie, blah, 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 all of this stuff. It also happened around the same time that Patty Jenkins, her script for Wonder Woman 3 seemed to have been rejected. And then now James Gunn is taking over, and there are no plans for her to return to anything Wonder Woman related. So it's just a lot of drama happening. Poor Patty Jenkins. But there's a rumor coming out last week that she may be back. And Rogue Squadron may be back on the table. So I am here on Dark Horizons, recapping it all. In a highly unexpected reversal, filmmaker Patty Jenkins has claimed she signed a new deal that will see her get back to work on the stalled Star Wars film Rogue Squadron at Lucasfilm and Disney. Speaking with host Ben Mekowitz on the TCM Max podcast, Talking Pictures, via Collider, the Wonder Woman director says the agreement was reached just prior to the summer strikes. The film was Let's start over. The film was initially announced in 2020 and looked set to be the first post the Rise of Skywalker film for the franchise. Jenkins was announced as director and even filmed a video for the announcement. I just said all of that. So I'm glad this article is covering exactly what I said. She left the project to make a third Wonder Woman, and Rogue Squadron seemingly stalled with no updates on the project since 2022. A third Wonder Woman also fell through due to the DC Studios takeover by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Now, though, Jenkins indicates she's back. Quote, so when I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3, I thought maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we did a deal for that to happen, started a deal, but I thought I was doing Wonder Woman. When that went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we got to finish this deal. We finished the deal right as the strike was happening. So I now owe a draft of Star Wars. And so we will see what happens there. You know, like, who knows? It's hard. They have a hard job in front of them of what's the first movie they're going to do. They have other directors who have been working, but I am now, you know, I'm back on doing Rogue Squadron, and we'll see what happens. We need to develop, get it to where we're both super happy with it. She retains her love for the franchise and seems genuinely excited about the prospect of doing a Star Wars film. Quote again from her, Star Wars is beautiful. The emotion of Star Wars and what it stands for is something so beautiful in this world, and particularly in a moment that we're at right now where Star Wars was born out of World War II, right? It's born out of how do you make a metaphor and talk in metaphor, right? Exactly. And so in that way, I've always wanted to make a fighter pilot movie. It's been a dream. How long before said film goes into production is not clear. We do not know when the dream will be realized there by Patty Jenkins. But me personally, I do hope the dream does get realized. Because like I said, one of the coolest things about Star Wars, obviously, are the space battles. Say what you will about the prequels, but the opening scene for Revenge of the Sith is probably by far one of the most outstanding opening moments in any sci-fi movie. Or at least I would say within the top 5. It is so amazing how you don't know exactly what's happening. You're just following these 2 ships flying, and all of a sudden, bang! You just see the entire battle scene unfold in front of your face, and it is phenomenal. Going back to the original trilogy, the space battle scene in Return of the Jedi, as they were trying to blow up the second Death Star, amazing. Not only is it amazing, but it's amazing how they filmed it and how they did the special effects for it too. I mean, that is just some phenomenal filmmaking right there. Special effects work. So to have something like that, and when it comes to video games, some of the best video games are the space battle games. X-Wing TIE Fighter, right? Recently we got the Squadrons video game, which I love. Not a lot of people play it, but I think it's fantastic. With the more recent iterations of Battlefront, and I'll get to Battlefront, but most of my time was spent during the space battle scenes. It's just fun stuff. And I think as a Star Wars fan, I want to see more of that. So when I hear of a premise like this, I say to myself, it makes a lot of sense. Some of my favorite characters are those that are just in their spaceships. Wedge Antilles. I forget the female who's like that great A-Wing pilot that we heard about in the more recent Star Wars movies. But to be introduced to a group of starfighters and pilots, right, and following their adventures of what they have to do, I think would be phenomenal. So I really do hope and pray that this, praying is a little bit too much, but I do hope that a movie like this can get made, because I think it'll be great. However, I will say that if it does get made, it's going to be a long time for us to see it, because they are so hell-bent and focused on this Mandalorian Grogu movie that they're working on. They know that's going to get people in seats. That's going to bring people to the box office, because everyone loves Grogu. Everyone, I think, still likes the Mandalorian despite season 3. And this is their season 4. This may conclude whatever story they're trying to tell there. Then we're supposed to get that Daisy Ridley movie that's bringing Rey back. So that's probably going to be the second movie to come out after this. And maybe this. Or if Taika can finally finish his script, whatever he's working on, that could be the next one. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited for something like this. Let me know in the comments if you are, whether you're live here or in the replay. Star-Lord, the Mandalorian is the Top Gun of space. Rogue Squadron is Goose. It's Pearl Harbor in space. It might become the Roswell incident. Oh no. Let's not hope on that. But I'm excited for this potential movie. I was excited when it was first announced. And I'm hoping that it could, I'm hoping that whatever script she's working on is strong enough that they're going to say, there's no way we can't do this. Wait, am I saying this right? There's no way There's nothing stopping us from making a movie like this. Yes? I don't know.
You blew it!
I need more coffee. All right. So that's Patty Jenkins. I've been wanting to talk about that ever since I saw that little rumor hit the rumor mill there. So I brought up Battlefront before. Let's talk about this hot mess of a game that was released last week on Friday. Solar says, I don't hope so. Wow, you're really against it, huh? Okay. Why is that? Or maybe you're just tired of Star Wars. Maybe that's one of the reasons too. I don't know, but let me know. So yeah. So let's recap everything that happened last week with this release of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, right? A Starlight means no, I hope. I mean, I don't hope. Oh! Gotcha. Cool. Understood. So there's this game that was hyped up because it was bringing back the original Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. Not the recent modernized versions of it, but these are the classic ones. We're going back now to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation. And these two games were phenomenal games back then. I really enjoyed these games. I played the hell out of these games. So it was announced that the Classic Collection, as they were calling it, was going to be released on modern consoles. That's your Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It promises 64-player multiplayer maps. So that's 32 versus 32. And just bring back the whole classic of Star Wars Battlefront to a modern age. And to current gamers who probably never played the original when it first came out. Then it came out. And yikes, was it a disaster? Just some ideas of how bad it was. It only got 26% positive reviews last week. Around or over 10,000 people tried to play on launch night, but only 3 multiplayer servers were available with 64 players each. So you had servers that couldn't handle the load. You know, almost like what happened with Helldivers, but in a way different, right? So you had a lot of people who were having problems trying to log in. It was capped for some reason at 30 frames per second. I don't know why that is. The download sizes or the size of the game itself is huge compared to the originals. I believe the numbers that I saw were if you added the original Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, they combined to a total of like 11 gigs or 12 gigs. This one is like 60 plus gigs. Why is there so much data? Why is there so many files for this thing? And for what? It's not a remaster. It's the same game. Just now made so that it can play in modern consoles. So no one went in there like they did with Dark Forces, the Dark Forces reboot or remake. No one went in there and polished any of the graphics. No one went in there and polished any of the artwork. They all utilized the same stuff. They just made it so that now it can run on modern consoles. So how do you get from 12 gigs to 60 plus? That makes no sense to me. And it's capped at 30 frames per second. That is just so bizarre to me. It just doesn't make any sense. I saw footage of people trying to play this game, and there's this thing on where one of the maps, one of the famous maps is Hoth, right? because one of the greatest battles in Star Wars history is the battle on Hoth. And people, you could see people are on Hoth, and you have the textures of the ground not fully rendering. So you just see like code and green glitches. And I saw this in more than one video. I mean, how insane is that? That is just so piss poor of a release. And what I don't understand too is that there is a certain level of quality control that your games have to go through when you release something on a major console. This is someone who worked in the industry, so I know, because I was also in charge of submissions. We have to make sure and endure and check off that everything meets the T's and C's, all the terms and conditions, all the technical specs. Nintendo has their quality checks, Sony has their quality checks, and Microsoft have their own quality checks. How does a game like this get through? I just don't understand it at all. The game was a major wreck, and I'm so happy I never bought it, because I was this close of buying it. Because like, oh, this will be fun to play on stream. But I didn't. I waited. Something in me said, just wait. Wait for Friday and see what happens. And that's when all the stuff started coming out. You can't play multiplayer. Servers are bogged down. There's only 3 servers open. Bunch of glitches, technical problems. Frame rates are all over the place and capped mostly at 30. That sounds god awful. And I heard lots of people were trying to get their refunds. You know, on Steam, it's easier to get a refund because they have a policy for that. But if you download it on PlayStation or Xbox, it might be harder for a lot of people to get their refunds. But people were fighting to get their refunds. And it was just a shit show. It really was a shit show. It's very embarrassing. And the company who is involved is Aspyr, who is not having a very good track record when it comes to a lot of these things. And it makes me concerned because they're also responsible for the remake of Knights of the Old Republic, which I doubt is going to be seeing the light of day anytime soon. So they put out a statement, and the statement itself wasn't even an apology. It was just like, and I'm going to read the quote right here. It's like, we experienced, oh, you know what? Let me pull this up. And I'll get back to the chat in a second. We experienced critical errors with our network infrastructure. The result was incredibly high ping, matchmaking errors, crashes, and servers not appearing in the browser. That was just one of the quotes that they had. They went on to say other things, but not once did they apologize for putting out a piss poor product. Not once. And now there's new word that's coming out, because a certain modder within the community, the fan base and all, caught something. And this is really crazy. So I'm going to pull this up right here. Seriously, Aspyr Media, I'm beginning to feel insulted. Nintendo Switch launched with just straight up all my hero stuff from my mod. Same glitches and bugs. We've data mined it, and it's the exact same files, just using the proper lightsaber attack animations. Wow. So they're including fan-made mods and changes in their code and releasing it as if it's their own. What is going on here? This is freaking embarrassing. This is just insanity. This is not cool. This is not okay. You know, you have the developers of, what was that game that came out? It was a live to service game. Living Light or Dead Light or something. It was very hyped. It released either the day of the Game Awards or the next day. And everyone got on it and said it was a piece of shit. And then once they got on, they all got off. The game closed down in a month. And I think the studio is like basically donezo. And then now you have this. And this is something that is attached to a major IP too. This is ridiculous. How does this stuff happen? I don't understand. I really don't. And I know the common dialogue here is, well, this is the state of the gaming industry now. Everything is released with bugs, day one patches, or update patches that will happen within the week. And I get that. I understand that. Look at what happened to Cyberpunk when that came out, right? But you can't constantly do this over and over again and expect the players, expect these people, these gamers, to be as understanding if this constantly keeps happening. This is just not cool. This is not okay. And I know a lot of people were really hoping and waiting for this game to come out because they were very excited for it. And to get disappointed and to spend their hard-earned money to get a piece of shit that they couldn't even play most of the time. Now, I heard the single-player stuff was working perfectly fine, but a game like this, you don't play single-player. It's nice that it's there, but everyone wants to play multiplayer. But you couldn't. It was unplayable from what I've heard from a lot of people. Verbatim, they said, this game is unplayable. And I cannot for the life of me support it. I've heard a lot of people say that last week and over the weekend. And that's just sad. That's sad. So I don't know what's going to happen from here. I don't know if I'll ever pick this game up. I don't know what's going to happen to Aspyr, how they're going to address all of this stuff. Because they're getting heavily criticized for their response already. I'm sure they're working their hardest to try to patch things up, but is it one of those things where it's a little bit too late now? I don't know. But it is just abysmal to see something like this happen. And the thing about this is that when you see stuff like this happen, and let's say somehow they walk away with everything being fine, then that's just going to send a message to every other developer out there that's like, you know what? We'll be fine. Look what happened to Aspyr. They were able to get away with this stuff. You know, and that's not the precedence you want to set. But my biggest concern and question is what's happening to quality control out there? You know, what's happening with Nintendo? What's happening with Sony? What's happening with Microsoft? Are they just foregoing a lot of those things because it's a Star Wars IP? You know, is someone, you know, throwing some extra dollars their way to say, hey, do us this solid. We promise we'll have a patch in a week. It's not cool. It's not cool, yo. I don't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. Let's see here. Going back to the chat, I want a Wonder Woman 3 where the TVA, the second movie, and prune it to a transported to a void at the end of time. Yeah, that second movie was something. I understand what they were trying to do there, but yeah, it's unfortunate that movie turned out the way it did. Starler also mentions, it's fine, GTA 6 will make everyone forget. Well, yeah, but still, we still have a long ways to wait for that too. But at the same time, it's like, this is just unacceptable. It's just not cool. It is not cool. But yeah, it is what it is. Other news here. James Gunn said Superman will be filmed entirely in IMAX. So that should be fun and interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Did anyone know that there's going to be a Little Shop of Horrors remake? Why not? Let's remake everything.
You blew it!
And it looks like Joe Dante is going to be helming it. So here's an article from Dark Horizons. Filmmakers Joe Dante and Roger Corman are teaming for Little Shop of Halloween Horrors, a reboot of the latter's famed 1960s horror comedy. Gremlins director Dante and Gremlins 2, the new batch writer Charles S. Haas, are serving in those capacities here with Corman and Brad Crevoy producing. Co-starring a young Jack Nicholson, the original Little Shop of Horrors was a cult shoestring budget classic about a florist who discovered a strange plant with a craving for human flesh. As the plant grows, Seymour must feed me, Seymour, feed its victims to keep it satisfied, leading to a series of darkly comedic and increasingly twisted events. The film was famously shot on a budget of $28,000. Interiors were shot in 2 days, utilizing sets that had been left standing from a bucket of blood. The property became more famous 2 decades later when a 1982 off-Broadway stage musical adaptation became the 1986 Frank Oz directed film starring Rick Moranis and Steve Martin. That's the Little Shop of Horrors that I remember watching, even though I did see the black and white original, snagging Oscars for visual effects and original song. Said musical enjoyed a 2003 Broadway debut and a 2019 off-Broadway revival. Greg Berlanti was attached to a Little Shop remake back in 2016. So, I'm of two minds here. I get it. It's one of those things again. Oh, here's Hollywood remaking and rebooting everything. There's no original ideas. Yes, that is very true. And I too complain about that. And also the other thing is, oh, why are they always rebooting and remaking everything? Yes, I understand. I understand why there's a lot of concern by that. However, I will say this. Let them reboot and remake whatever they want. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, at least we have the originals to fall back on. I've always believed that. I've always said that. Is it annoying that we have to see them at least attempt it? Yes, of course, it is always annoying. However, what makes this interesting is that they're remaking the original black and white one, not the musical one. And I remember when I was a kid, because I am very familiar with the musical version with Rick Moranis and Steve Martin. Great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. If you're into like the campy horror type of movies, comedic horrors, then that's definitely going to be up your alley. But I love this movie when I was a kid. But I remember walking around my local video rental store. And it wasn't Blockbuster Video, because Blockbuster Video, where I was growing up in New York, that's more of a suburban store. So if you lived like in the suburbs, you had access to Blockbuster Video. If you lived more in like the boroughs or the city, you had local rental chains. Until later on, Blockbuster started infiltrating the boroughs, the city, and then you had other stuff like Hollywood Video coming in. But my local video store growing up was called Leisure Time Video. And I remember, well, it depends on the era too. So from the ages 4 to 7, I want to say, it was Leisure Time Video. Later on, from like 8 to early teens, it was Leisure Time Video 2, a sister location that they opened up, and this other one called Flagship Video. It was a video rental store, but they also developed film there, and you could rent Nintendo games. It's funny how your memory works, and you can remember a lot of this useless things in there. But I always remember going around the video store, and I would be confused because I know the Little Shop of Horrors that I know, but I would see a box that says Little Shop of Horrors, but all the pictures were black and white. And I just remember seeing a young Jack Nicholson holding little Audrey doing one of these things like that. And I was like, what is this movie? Like, this is not the Little Shop of Horrors I know. So I finally rented it and I saw, oh, wow, this is interesting. This is a different take on it. This is like a more like straightforward, serious horror comedy take on it. I was like, oh, wow. I had no idea that this was the original. So the fact that they're remaking it in that vein, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Plus, Joe Dante, who did Gremlins, one of my all-time favorite movies, one of the very few movies I've seen It's the only movie I saw the most in theaters, and that I saw it 8 times in the theaters. I saw Gremlins, yes. I watched Gremlins in the movie theater 8 times. I think I was 4 or 5 at the time, but I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. Also, go figure that a movie like that didn't scare me, but E.T. did. I don't know. But Joe Dante recently, let's see what he's done recently. Joe Dante. As of recent, I don't think he's done much, to be honest with you. Let's see. I think the last movie we got from him was something called The Second Civil War, which came out in 97. No, that can't be true. He's done something before. Yeah, 2018, something called Nightmare Cinema. But he's done movies like Looney Tunes Back in Action, Small Soldiers. He did The Burbs back in the day. Inner Space. Oh my God, Inner Space. I'll never forget that movie. That was another classic. You know, so Joe Dante has like that 80s sensibility. So I think if he kind of puts like an 80s spin on it, then I think a movie like that can do well. And I'll be curious to see how it turns out. So yeah. So we'll see. Again, Deadline is reporting this. I don't know how solid this is, but if it's true, I may be all in for it. I may be all in for it. Blah, blah, blah. Grand Theft Auto 6 will be the Gozer of games. GTA 5 was Zool because it was dog shit. Wow. Granted, it was a sculpture of a work of art. Thank you, Star-Lord. I know you didn't like GTA 5, but, and again, I've only played like 5 hours of it, but from what I played, I kind of liked it. But I don't know. I don't know how the rest of the game was. Because as I was playing it, all of a sudden they removed it from Game Pass. So I'm like, oh, well, there goes that. Along with a remake or reboot of Little Shop of Horrors, they are now also making an animated Among Us series. And it was announced who the voice cast is going to be. Now, I'm not mad at this voice cast. I'm just mad at the names of who they're playing. So you have Randall Park. Hold on, let me pull this up. Randall Park playing Red. Elijah Wood playing Green. Ashley Johnson playing Purple. And Yvette Nicole Brown playing Orange. Seriously, guys, can we not come up with any names for these characters? You know, and it's going to be interesting because in the game, nobody talks. We do the talking because we're the ones speculating who's the murderer and all that stuff like that. But how are you going to add voices to this without adding any kind of names to any of the characters? Are they going to be calling themselves Orange and Purple and Green and Red? That's just so bizarre to me. That was tweeted out there from Discussing Film. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone's like going nuts or hankering for, or, you know, I need an Among Us show. I don't know if anyone's ever doing that. But it is what it is right there. Let's see here. But speaking of voice acting, this was another piece of news that came out last week that I also found interesting and concerning at the same time. This came from a Reddit post last week. And someone was talking to, I guess, Kung Fu Panda, co-director of Kung Fu Panda 4. And got some information about voice casting and the details about voice casting. And basically, this person said that Universal reportedly has a mandate to hire stars for voice roles in their tentpole animated movies. So it sounds like, you know, and their tentpole movies are easily anything Despicable Me related. Kung Fu Panda, obviously. Now, The Secret Lives of Pets, right? I'm pretty sure you could put Sing there now. Sing is Universal, right? And now the Mario Brothers franchise. And I don't know how I feel about this because there's so many talented voice actors out there. And one of the things that you hear all the time is that it's so hard for voice actors to get work, especially in these big movies, because they put so much focus on hiring well-known stars to be voices in their movies. And I'm sure the reasoning behind it is a very old school reasoning that stars bring attendance. Stars will bring people to watch the movie. But when it's an animated movie, does it really matter? Like, let me know. When you go to a movie and you watch an animated movie, are you excited at the fact that, oh, I can't wait to see how Anya Taylor-Joy sounds like with this character? Or, oh, I can't wait for Jason Sudeikis to be the voice of this guy. Or Chris Pratt this. You know, like I don't understand what that draw is. Because unless you have this very iconic voice that could lend to a character that the animated movie is about or is trying to accomplish, I could not care less as to who you cast as a voice actor, as long as the voices are good. I know Josh Gad is another common voice actor you hear all the time. You know, but they're spending so much time and money on trying to get these big name stars to be voices for their roles. And of course, any actor, especially nowadays, they know that that is like an easy paycheck. You spend what? A couple of days, maybe a week in the studio, and then you're done. You don't even have to be on the camera at all. So you hear more and more actors and actresses wanting to do voices for movies. You know, it's like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand that mentality. Because I don't, you know, outside of like controversial stuff, like, oh, I remember when they casted Chris Pratt as Mario. Oh my God, the online discourse. And everyone's just like, oh, Chris Pratt. I don't see it. I don't know how he could be an Italian plumber. Is he going to sound like, who is this guy? Martinet? Charles Martinet? What about him? You know? And then when the movie came out, I was like, hey, it was okay. It was fine. Like after 10 minutes, I kind of forgot that it was Chris Pratt. Now, Jack Black made Bowser. You know, Jack Black makes freaking the panda in Kung Fu Panda. You know, he puts a lot of his own personality in there. You know, so I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, does it really matter who's voicing what? You know, there's so many great voice actors in that whole community. And it's a shame that a lot of them can't get work. You know, because they're being pushed aside because, oh, we understand you're a great voice actor. But we can get Ian McKellen or we can get Charlize Theron. We're going to go with these guys because names bring people into seats. They bring people to box office. And I don't think that's true. If you see them, maybe it does. But if you're just listening to them talk, I don't know. I would argue that maybe that's not such a big thing. But not according to studios. They love that mentality. I remember the laughter at the casting of the Mario movie. People loved some of the casting. Yeah. Like, I thought it was cool that a lot of those actors and actresses were attached. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You had who's that guy? Charlie Day as Luigi. Peel, not Peel. Sorry. Key as Toad. Of course, I thought Jack Black as Bowser was perfect. For me, I thought, oh, that's a perfect casting. I guarantee you that's going to be a perfect casting. And I was right. But even though it was like kind of cool to hear that, like these guys are attached to this, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. The one casting I'll never forget that was such a crazy big deal, and I'm going to pull it up right now, was when they announced the voice cast for the live action Lion King movie. Oh my God. The amount of talent that they hired for that movie is insanity. It was just so crazy. And at the end of the day, it didn't do a damn thing for it. And for me, I fell asleep during that movie because I was bored and it just felt like I'm rewatching the animated film like it's just live action. Listen to this cast they had for the live action Lion King. Donald Glover, Beyonce, Seth Rogen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, John Oliver, James Earl Jones, Alfre Woodard, Keegan-Michael Key, Eric Andre, Billy Eichner, Amy Sedaris, Chance the Rapper. And of course, you had Phil Lamar in there, one of the most well-known voice actors in the industry. I mean, come on. So many like well-known, high-talented people, actors, actresses. For a movie that was just like, it's all right. I know they're doing a sequel to it. I don't know how that movie's going to do. But I just don't get the appeal for casting. And maybe I'm wrong. If you are watching this and you say, no, I'd like to know that a well-known actor or actress is playing a voice in this movie. If you feel that way, let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. But for me, I don't think it really makes a lick of a difference. All right. Who remembers and loves the Teen Titans? The cartoon series that everyone loved back during the Cartoon Network days. Of course, I'll never forget the theme song by the great Puffy Amiyumi. Teen Titans! Well, it looks like they're making a movie at DC Studios. I'm here at the Hollywood Reporter. Teen Titans live action movie, a go at DC Studios. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow scribe Anna Nogueira will write the screenplay. The DC heroes, which began as teenage sidekicks of their more famous and iconic counterparts, are getting their own live action feature from the James Gunn and Peter Safran-led DC Studios. The comic book movie oh boy. Let me take a sip of this coffee because it's been a while. Coffee time. Star-Lord, but do you really believe the Chris Pratt wishing well story to become Mario one day? No. I don't believe that. I believe he just said that. It's hard for me to believe that he, when he was younger, said, oh, one day I wish I could voice Mario. I really highly doubt that. I feel like that was just for show. All right, continue here in the article. The comic book movie division of Warner Brothers Discovery has tapped Anna Nogueira to pen the screenplay for the project. The hiring further ensconces the actress and playwright turned scribe into the DC family, as she is already writing Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. The Teen Titans were first introduced in the mid-60s and featured Robin, Kid Flash, Aqualad, as well as Wonder Girl. Other teens such as Speedy, the sidekick of Green Arrow, joined Adventures later. The comics skewed younger and were not considered major sellers until the 1980s relaunch by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. With addition of Beast Boy and new creations Cyborg, Raven, Starfire joining Robin and Wonder Girl, the new Teen Titans became a massive hit and DC's #1 selling comic. The book has been revamped several times in various configurations of characters new and old. DC Comics currently publishes Titans, featuring the classic 80s combo, but with characters no longer teenagers. The Teen Titans became an unexpected hit media franchise thanks to Teen Titans Go, a comedic and frequently meta take on DC. Animated series has run 8 seasons on Cartoon Network, airing close to 400 episodes. I had no idea it was that much. Wow, that's insane. The series also spawned a feature film, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which was released in theaters in July of 2018. The characters have also popped up in video games, among other media. Nogueira was also known for her acting, which included a stint on CW's The Vampire Diaries and credits on such shows as The Michael J. Fox Show and recent Starz series Hightown. However, she has also built a thriving writing career, with her play Which Way to the Stage debuted off-Broadway in 2022. In November 2023, it was revealed that she was writing DC's Supergirl, a standalone featured centered on the Kryptonian cousin of Superman. The project is now seeking a director. So she is going to be penning the script for this Teen Titans live action movie. What also makes this very interesting news is this is the first time we're getting a new announcement on a new project outside of the roadmap that James Gunn laid out in front of us when he was about to take over the creative side for DC under Warner Brothers Discovery. There was no mention of any Teen Titans live action movie before. So this is interesting that this is a new thing that is spawning from his tutelage of the property. And I think it's smart. I think it's brilliant. And I'll tell you why. Because if they're really going to be truly focused on the younger sidekicks of well-known DC heroes, it kind of gives them a little excuse to not focus on the main stars of the DCU. Yes, we're getting a Superman movie. The Batman movie from Matt Reeves is separate from all of this stuff, but we are getting a sequel to that. There are no talks about anything Wonder Woman related. Another Batman that's supposed to be canon within the universe. No Green Arrow, no Green Lantern, no Cyborg, no Flash, no Aquaman. But if we get a Teen Titans live action movie, you kind of buy some time in not worrying about those main characters. And let's focus on like the younger kids, the younger generation. Plus, this is great competition because if the MCU is really focusing on the Young Avengers, now you have DC maybe coming out the gate with their version first ahead of the Young Avengers. So all of a sudden now it becomes, well, who's got the younger superhero team first and who's doing it better? So I think this is pretty smart. And I know there is a lot of love for Teen Titans, or Titans as you call it. Star-Lord, 2018 Titans was good. That you're referring to the live action show, right? That you can kind of see on Max. I remember, I have a funny story about that. So when that show came out, I never had a chance to watch it. I believe, this was when it was actually under DC's own app, DC Universe, right? Or what was it called? DC something. Before they rolled all of that under the Max umbrella, the HBO Max umbrella. And that's the only way you could watch it, I think, online at the time. I don't remember if they ever aired it on the CW. Maybe they did, but I just don't remember. But fun fact about that, I've never had a chance to see it, right? I was in Japan around 2019, maybe, or 2018. In Japan, Netflix in Japan had all the episodes for Titans. So I was like, oh, when I'm not doing anything, I can finally watch it. And I remember watching the first 4, 5 episodes, maybe. I was like, man, first of all, it was gritty. It was dark. It was violent. And I kind of dug it. But unfortunately, I never continued watching it. That was the only problem. Because I'm not going to spend my time in Japan just sitting there binge watching a show. I'm not going to be doing that. Right? I watched what I watched, and I said to myself, all right, eventually I'll get back to it. And I never did. So, but from what I saw, I dug. Now, what's going to happen here? Who knows? Are we going to get something that's a little bit more serious? Maybe a mix of both serious and a little like humor? Are we going to get the same humor like we saw in Teen Titans Go? No, I highly doubt that. But we are dealing with a younger group here. So we may get kind of like, whatchamacallit? Kind of like the coming of age type of storytelling, which I'm sure we're going to get a lot of. And if it's under James Gunn's tutelage, I'm sure it's not going to be anything like CDW related, which is going to be a huge breath of fresh air, because I think I'm a little tired of that whole formula. So it could be very interesting. And like I said, there is a lot of people who love Titans, and hopefully it's going to be something that a lot of people will enjoy whenever that decides to come out. So that's going to be really, really cool to see. Star-Lord, loved it. Good. Did you finish the whole series? Because they made, was it 3 seasons? I think it was. I don't remember how many seasons they had, but I think it was 3 seasons. I'm not really sure. I think it ended not that long ago, from what I can recall. All right. What other bits of news here do we have? Let's stick along. Well, I'm like hopping back and forth between Warner Brothers and Disney, and I'm just like all over the gamut here right now. But this is something interesting I found. Or I found this interesting, I should say. And it's about the amount of money that Disney has made off of Marvel and Star Wars, the franchise. So this is going to be a segment where you're just going to be feeling like crap, because you're like, oh wow, major company making all this money, good for them, bunch of jackasses. But in a business sense, it does look interesting to me when you actually lay it all out, especially understanding how much Disney paid for a lot of these franchises. It's just mind-boggling to me. So here we go. Back here on Dark Horizons. Disney has reportedly revealed that the Marvel and Star Wars franchises have generated $25 billion for the company, with both major acquisitions having yielded around 3 times what Disney paid for them over a decade ago. Freaking insanity. Revealing the multiplier details in a presentation at votedisney.com via The Wrap earlier last week, the Mouse House says that Star Wars has generated a 2.9 times return on investment. Marvel is 3.3 times, and Pixar is 5.5 times. Both the Star Wars and Marvel franchises were acquired for only $4 billion each, suggesting they have garnered $11.6 billion and $13.2 billion respectively. The numbers incorporate revenue streams from theatrical releases, home entertainment, TV, and consumer products made under Disney's ownership. They don't include other sources like park attractions based on the works, direct-to-consumer originals, or pre-established products related to the franchises. The fine print indicates investment reflects film production and marketing costs and animated film production overhead. It does not include any additional distribution costs or that overhead associated with it. That has brought the dollar figure being published by media outlets into question, as Disney brief only announced the ROI multiplier, not dollar figures for the franchises, so the costs are potentially slightly higher or lower than $4 billion per franchise. The studio is currently in a proxy battle with activist investors try and fund management and Blackwell's capital, and that is another story for another day altogether. AKB Myobo Indihishi. I don't know what happened to my speech right there, but I just... bleh. Those are what's called solid investments. Indeed. I wonder if George Lucas is sitting at home right now and he's like, God damn it, I could have gotten more money for this thing. You blew it! I'm sorry. I had to laugh at my piss poor George Lucas impersonation. God damn it, this Disney. I could have gotten more money because... Oh, what is wrong with me? Oh, my gosh. But it's not like he needed the money anyway. I mean, like he came out on top with like the deals that he made. If you don't know the deals that he's made at the time when the original 3 movies came out, do yourself a favor. Read the history behind it all. I don't know how he had the foresight about it, but he had some foresight. Some foresight. Like, he understood that no matter what, he wanted all the rights to all the merchandising. And made it like gangbusters. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Star-Lord, no, because selling toys did enough. Yep, exactly. AKB, I'm making a... Okay, I have to do this properly. All right. According to AKB Mobile, this is a retelling of George Lucas after he signed a contract with Disney to sell off the Lucasfilm rights and franchise. I'm making out like a bandit. You blew it! Look, I'm not here to be a famed impressionist, but for me, it sounds great. In my head, it sounds great. I'm making out like a bandit. Now I'm just sounding like something else. I'm kind of sounding like I'm combining Lucas with that guy from Men in Black, the guy who became like the big bug that tried to dress up like a human. Sugar, I want sugar. Two hours sleep, y'all. This is what happens. Let's go. 2 hours sleep. 2 hours sleep. I'm losing my mind. I don't know what's happening. Let's go. Let's go.
Wow, 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 wow. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come.
Sorry, I'll stop. So yeah, so Disney making a shit ton of money that none of us will ever see. The end. Star-Lord saying, damn it, I could make more money and space credits. Damn it, I could have made more money and space credits. All right. Speaking of developing projects, come on, let's get back to serious business here. Serious business. Enough of this clown foolery. Marvel's developing a Nova project. In case you were wondering. Dark Horizons out promoting the launch of Marvel Animation's X-Men 97, which we have some follow-ups on that stuff, by the way. I'll get to that in a minute. Marvel Studios production and development executive Brad Winderbaum has dropped some interesting reveals in a new interview. Speaking with comicbook.com, the biggest bombshell is that he confirms that a Nova project is in the works. However, it's very much in the earliest possible stages. We love Nova. We are in really early development on Nova. I love Nova too. I love Rich Rider too. I hope it gets to the screen. The world is always chaos. There's always things. You got to conjure these things to make them happen. Excuse me. But I would love to see Nova one day.
You blew it!
A Nova show one day. In the comics, Nova is Richard Rider, a member of the intergalactic police force known as the Nova Corps, which we were introduced to in Guardians of the Galaxy. He has access to the Nova Force and sports superhuman abilities, including enhanced strength, flight, and resistance to injury. Winderbaum also spoke about the recent changes to Marvel's development process in the wake of Disney's Bob Iger scaling back Marvel's output and several projects undergoing retooling. Before I continue with this, to kind of preface all of that, there was an article that came out basically stating that Iger is behind the scenes meeting up with all of these creators under his tutelage, under the Disney umbrella. That's your Lucasfilm, your Marvel, and all that. But we know he's really focusing a lot on Marvel right now because he feels like they're the ones that are spending so much money and the returns are not there right now. And he's secretly canceling projects, telling them not to do this anymore, not to do that anymore, maybe focus on this, maybe do this, blah, 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 blah. So he's being very hands-on right now. Separately, Winderbaum also mentioned that the previous mandate before Iger came back, so this is under Chapek, was that we got to make as much Disney Plus programming as much as possible and as fast as possible. Hence, why we got inundated with a lot of mediocre, if not shitty shows. Because it became a factory. It's like, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. More. More. How do you like it? How do you like it? We don't.
You blew it!
So, since Iger's now back in the mix, he's like, pump the brakes, y'all. We got to stop what we're doing and we got to refocus and do what we are doing that we know that will work. So to continue with the article and the quote here, we have a new system behind the scenes at Marvel Studios. We're more like a traditional studio now. We're developing more than we actually will produce. In all honestly, wait, that doesn't make sense. In all honesty, I'll correct his grammar. There was a mandate to create as much as we could for Disney Plus as quickly as we could, and then there was a shift. I just said all that. Then all of a sudden, we had to start spreading our release dates out. So that really accounts for a lot of the delays. Now we're using that time so projects stay in the oven. They can bake certain things a little more. It's only going to make things better. By the way, X-Men 97 debuts this Wednesday. I think they're dropping 2 episodes this Wednesday. So there you go. Star-Lord saying, this is scum and villainy, damn it. Or, sorry. According to Lucas, this is scum and villainy, damn it. I feel like my impression is getting worse and worse. So, are you excited for a Nova project? Look, if they are going to be working on a Nova project and it's going to be live action, I guarantee you that's when we're finally going to see the return of Star-Lord. Because if you remember at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, knowing and understanding that James Gunn is done, he's now moving on to DC, right? No more Guardians of the Galaxy for him. And since that was well known, Batista said he's moving on. He's not going to do Drax anymore. You had, Karen Gillan saying, I don't know what's going to happen to the project moving forward. Sean Gunn is moving with his brother over to DC, right? So Kragan is not going to be returning anytime soon. Bradley Cooper is just a voice, so they could do whatever with Rocket in the future. Vin Diesel will work regardless of the fact, because all he has to do is one line over and over again, right? And then you had Gamora, Zoe Saldana, saying that she's probably done as well. But for some reason, at the end of Guardians Volume 3, they had this capper that said Star-Lord will return. And to this day, I have no idea what they mean by that. So if they are really serious on working on a Nova project, I guarantee you that's when we're going to see the return of Star-Lord somehow. So at least that'll be interesting to look forward to. Star-Lord said, keep it up, you'll become one of the Force. All right, I'll keep it up. I'm going to read this next article in the voice of George Lucas. Actually, maybe not this next article, this other article here. I'm going to read this in the voice of George Lucas. It'll be a short one. This is a little blurb that I saw on Twitter. Bill Hader has been cast as the Cat in the Hat in a new Cat in the Hat animated movie. It's going to be great. I love Bill Hader. Barry was one of my favorite shows. And Cat in the Hat is just fun. I read that to my kids when they were young. And it was fantastic. It was great. I love Cat in the Hat. Dr. Seuss, he's fantastic. The Mike Myers movie, that was kind of weird. You know, so Bill Hader for me. Interesting. Thank you. $4 billion. So yeah, so Bill Hader will be voicing the Cat in the Hat in the new animated movie. Yay. I love Bill Hader. If you've never watched the series Barry, you have to. You have to watch that damn series. It's so good. And you get to see his range because you never expected him to have the range that he has. And in that series, he has some of the best acting I've ever seen him do. It's such a great freaking series. Hands down. Star-Lord saying I'm geeking out right now. Why? And not because of my impression. I hope that's not the reason why. Maybe you're just super excited about the whole Bill Hader voicing the Cat in the Hat. And I get it. The Cat in the Hat is a favorite for a lot of us as when we were kids. All right. So I have some updates about the whole X-Men 97 debacle. This may be old news to some of you right now. Star-Lord saying I'm on the level of loving fan of it. So, if you remember, I reported on this last week that Beau DeMayo was fired from X-Men 97 and fired from Marvel Studios, just overall. No explanation, very abrupt. His Instagram account was completely deleted. No word from anybody as to what was happening, why it was happening, speculation. I had my own speculations. I just think maybe his extracurricular activities outside of work may have gotten him in trouble somehow, or maybe he said something to somebody. So I believe this was on Thursday. One of the producers for X-Men just said some things. And it's brief from what it looks like, but here I'm back on Dark Horizons. Following the firing of creator Beau DeMayo from the animated revival series X-Men 97 earlier this week, another executive producer on this series has released a statement. Speaking with Variety, Brad Winderbaum only briefly touched upon DeMayo's involvement, saying he did excellent work writing seasons 1 and 2, and I can't wait for fans to see the series. The official reason for DeMayo's firing 2 days ago and his subsequent deletion of multiple social media accounts are currently unknown, though speculation has been rife in the days since. The series explores new stories of the kind of blah, blah, blah. So here's a quote from Winderbaum. The entire team came together to create a revival worthy of X-Men's 60-year legacy. From Stan to Jack to Claremont to the Lewalds, we all truly were standing on shoulders of giants. DeMayo made headlines in late 2022 for his comments in an interview where he revealed some of his fellow writers on Netflix's The Witcher series actively disliked the books and games, and one of the key hiring practices on X-Men 97 was a person had to be a fan of the original series. X-Men 97 debuts on Disney Plus service on March 20th. All right. So, what I'm hearing on the rumor mill is that there's a couple of things here. And again, these are just rumors, so speculations galore here. I don't think we'll know anything until one side really speaks up about it. One of the two things I've heard is that, one, he was a very difficult person to work with behind the scenes. Don't know how true that is. We've heard that from other people before. It is what it is. Second thing I heard was that whatever he was doing on OnlyFans caught the attention of some of the bigwigs at Disney and Marvel, and they weren't happy about it. They may have mentioned to him about it, stuff about it, but he continued to do it, and maybe that's another reason why he was fired. Because one thing I brought up last week when I talked about this was that Disney, regardless of what's happening nowadays in society, they're still a very clean-cut and very black and white company. When it comes to anything controversial, they do their best to try to stay away from it. And if there are people that are working for them involve themselves in said controversy, look at Gina Carano. They are not they won't shy away from letting that person go. So that could be what's happening here. Starlord said, I actually heard of something new involving Jake Lloyd. If it's if it's his mom speaking out about him and about his rehab and him having mental issues and personality disorders, I read an article about that last week during one of the streams. I think I read about that on Wednesday or Monday. I'm not really sure when. It's sad. It's really sad. You know, I feel so sorry for him. But I hear he's doing a little better. He's a big fan of Ahsoka. That was what his mom said. And he doesn't hate Star Wars. He still loves Star Wars. And she denies that the backlash of Star Wars is what caused his mental breakdown. But like I said last week, I'm sure it didn't help. So yeah. So sad stuff. But yeah, so that's, again, it's not the biggest news or biggest update on the whole DeMayo case, but at least it's a little something. But I really don't think we're going to hear the true story until one side speaks up. And maybe we're waiting until after the series is all said and done, and then maybe some stuff will come up. Who knows? I don't know. But I guess we will see. It's a Phantom Menace anniversary. It is. Yeah, this year marks the 35th anniversary of Phantom Menace, I believe. Phantom Menace anniversary. Annie. Is it 35th or 25th? I'm sorry. It's the 25th. 25th anniversary. I added 10 more years to it. He could be returning for something. I don't know if he's mentally capable of doing that just yet. Based on the article I read, it doesn't sound like he will be. I would love him to. What I mentioned last week is that just like how you're seeing the renewed love for Hayden Christensen and Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar Binks, I honestly feel like if Jake Lloyd were to come out and do like a guest appearance on something or show up at like Star Wars Celebration, which happens to be in Japan next year, fingers crossed, he is going to get inundated with nothing but love. Nothing but love. I guarantee that he's going to get showered with all the love from in the world. And it would be a fantastic thing to see. So I'm really, really hoping that he can mentally get better and he's capable of being out and dealing with the social aspect of things and dealing with the public, once I think he's capable of doing that, I think that would be fantastic to see him return in something, or even just make an appearance and just say, "Hey, remember me?" Because I think that would be beautiful, really, really beautiful. All right. There's other bits of news here that I'd love to talk about. Like Gina Carano gave this really major interview. But I feel like I that's definitely gonna go into a lot there. So I'm gonna save that maybe for Wednesday. But I do kind of want to end with this bit of news because one thing I love talking about on this channel is, and I even created a playlist about it, and it's kind of a small series that I've been kind of adding to little by little, and I call it Cinematic Civility. And it talks about all the crazy stuff that I've personally witnessed and get annoyed at while watching movies in the theaters. Well, I didn't see this personally, but that if I did, this would have been above all end all one of the craziest shits I would have ever experienced. This is according to Variety here. Moviegoer arrested after lewd sexual behavior during Love Lies Bleeding screening in Detroit. Get ready, hold on to your butts about this. Before I do, AKB agreed that the Star Wars fans would give Jake Lloyd much love. Hope he gets well enough for an appearance or two. 1000%. Jake, we're rooting for you, buddy. I mean, you don't know me, but I would love to see you just get well. Period. And then let's deal with whatever comes with after that. But going here, Variety, a moviegoer at MJR Southgate Cinema in suburban Detroit was arrested for allegedly engaging in lewd behavior during a screening of the new Kristen Stewart film Love Lies Bleeding. The Southgate Police Department confirmed to Variety that a patron was arrested after a Thursday night screening of the noirish thriller and is still in police custody as of Friday morning. He has not yet been arraigned, and no charges have been brought forth. Love Lies Bleeding is a sexually charged film about a pair of lesbian lovers that is set in the world of bodybuilding. A manager at MGR Southgate also confirmed to Variety that there was an ongoing investigation into the incident. A not safe for work photo of a man asleep in a reclining movie theater chair with his penis exposed was posted by Twitter user UglyXKorean. What a name, what a handle. Who captioned the image, went to go see Love Lies Bleeding, and this drunk guy jacked himself off to sleep.
I'm gonna come.
On the table next to the chair were several items, including 2 small bottles of liquor, a pack of cigarettes, and his ticket. User also posted a picture of police walking through the lobby of the theater. In the replies, the user confirmed the theater location, and when asked about the fate of the moviegoer, wrote that the police arrested him. He was sitting in the back of the car when I left. Let's take a look at that photo. Oh my. Okay, I can't. Hold on. All right. I can't show the actual photo because there is something, but this is what the censored version looks like. First of all, kudos to this movie theater. The fact that they have a table next to you, this is fantastic. I wish we had movie theaters like this here. I mean, yeah, we have, our Alamos. There's this other theaters chain. I don't know if they're even still around, where it's like you're in it's almost like a lounging bed almost. But this reminds me of the theaters I go to when I'm in Japan, how you have your own personal table, but you have to pay a premium for this. But look at this. Cigarettes, alcohol, and his wanker basically right out in the open. Holy cow. Unbelievable. Star-Lord, Kristen Stewart likes so vampires do sparkle. Well, this guy was sparkling, all right. The most appropriate use of your...
I'm gonna come.
That's right. Why did you go and look, damn it? Because I had to. I wanted to look so that you wouldn't have to.
You blew it! I'm gonna come.
And he did, and fell asleep. This guy living his best life. I don't know how much he paid for his ticket, but this is a guy who is definitely bringing back the days of the porn theaters here in New York City. Now he is forever this guy. Yes, you don't see his face, but I'm pretty sure people who know him could recognize this part of his head. Like, oh man, what did James do now? What did he do? What did he do? AKB, but I had to when you looked. Oh, hate you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I hate you. I hate you. Okay. So at this moment, you're very angry at Obi-Wan right now. You're very angry at Obi-Wan. So I want you to scream to the top of your lungs that you hate him. You really, really hate him. Okay? Ready? You got it? You can do it? Well, let's go, buddy. Okay. Scream. I want emotion. You hate him. Glad you missed it. Well, it wasn't on the screen that long. Like I immediately I scroll and it's like, oh, nope. Now, I will say it is very disappointing that he wasn't using the Dune bucket. If he had the Dune 2 bucket, then I think that would have been better. Also, I will say this, that the picture I saw, the unedited photo, he was fully flaccid. So he's already done. And I didn't see any evidence of where the end product went. Maybe it's in this little cup of his next to him. I don't know. And who allows you to smoke in theaters? Or did he just have it out? I don't know. All of this is so crazy. It's so bizarre. I love this story because it's just insane. It's insane. Starlord, I don't need to see popcorn and jizz. Oh no, psychologist George Lucas. Tell me, how does this make you feel?
I'm gonna come.
What a hot mess. So if anyone ever says to you, I just don't like going to movie theaters anymore, when you hear about stories like this, I don't blame them. I really don't. Lucky for me, recently, I haven't experienced anything crazy at movie theaters. Not like last year. Last year, I had a number of incidents that I was just like, what the fuck? So far, knock on wood, nothing. But I haven't seen Love Lies Bleeding yet, so who knows? Maybe there's still time.
I'm gonna come.
Oh, he shot first, all right. He sure did. I want to know, like, how long in the movie he got until he finished. Like, did he get to finish the entire movie before he passed out? Or was it like maybe the first act and then that was it? And then he just passed out? Because if someone is walking in and seeing this guy, that means he's probably there from the previous showing. Right? that also means to me that maybe no one went in the theater to clean it up. So you blew it. That also is that says bad things to me about this theater. Regardless of the fact you have a table, if you're not going into theaters and cleaning it up and kicking anyone out, then that's just terrible. What if he didn't actually even see the movie? What if he was like jerking off to Mary Menounos? You know how they do like those like the 20-minute preview stuff when you have someone talking there? Did Nicole Kidman promo come up and he's like, oh my God, Nicole Kidman, I love you.
I'm gonna come.
Indeed, it is Detroit.
You blew it!
Wow.
So there you go. So if you're in the Detroit area, do not go to this movie theater. Or maybe just don't go to movies at all. You know, maybe you should just stay home. But yeah, that was something I had to talk about because, like I said, I've had so many interesting experiences at movie theaters. I've never encountered anything like that. However, I will say I had a friend who used to work at a movie theater. It's the Regal that is currently on 42nd Street in Times Square. And this is going way back. This is like maybe definitely over 10 years ago. And he told me that he had to try to kick this couple out because they were having a good time. And he said that every time they would clean up after every movie, they would have flashlights because they had to really look closely at a lot of the seats. And, you know, during this one occasion, there was just a couple who, you know, was engaging in some extracurricular activities. And he had to kick them out. You know? So, I mean, I guess a lot of kudos to him because that's a tough job to have to do. Give him credit. The promo he promoted the movie. That's right. Now after that, you're gonna start seeing these new quotes with new commercials coming out. A movie so riveting it'll make you come.
I'm gonna come.
A movie so intense, you'll feel it in your pants. They're going to have quotes, you know, like how they have quotes from like reviewers, like 5 stars and all that. It'll be like, James Dominic from Detroit, Michigan. I came so hard I passed out.
I'm gonna come.
5 stars. Love Lies Bleeding, playing in theaters now. Get your tickets. And I don't know why we're calling him James. It's just the only name that came up. But yeah. Plot twist, he is part of the marketing team. The studios thank him. Here's your year supply of Jergens. Good work, James. It's comedy gold. It's just the craziest shit. I don't know. But let me know in the comments, what would you do if you walked in on a situation like that? You gotta love it. But with all that being said, I think it's time to call it at that moment. But I'm going to head on out for now. Enjoy the rest of my Monday. And I hope you all enjoy your Mondays as well. Thank you again for tuning in and joining in on the fun and the festivities here on Monday. I hope you have a great day and you have a great start to your week. I will be back again on Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So hopefully I'll get to see a lot of you there. Big shout out to Starlord, AKB Mobile, and anyone else who has been watching. I know I do get lurkers out and about, and I love you all the same. Always appreciate the love and support. Again, don't forget, like, subscribe, dislike, leave a comment, put your hands in your pants, and let's have some fun. Stay cool, stay class, stay safe. I'll catch you all in the next one. All right, peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.